With the women's medals now settled, it's time for the men to debut their season at the Doha World Cup Triathlon. The heat and humidity would become an additional challenge as the 60 men readied for their World Cup season debut. With 3 Australians ranked in the top 10, the Aussies will be the team to watch. These elite men will be the final participants to test the course before the December Asian Games.
The men will be doing the exact same course, 2 laps of the swim for a total of 1,500 meters. Then onto the bike, very flat, very technical, lots of corners, 8-kilometer loop 5 times for a total of 40 kilometers on the bike. They'll be coming off the bike into the heat of the day, 3 laps, 10 kilometers. It's over 35 degrees Celsius. It's gonna be hot.
Last year, and I finished it off quite well and took the break and sort of built back up and started the Australian season quite good with a win in Perth and a win in Hobart, so all's going well. Yeah, it's first one up, sort of everyone sort of, you don't really know where everyone's at sort of thing, except the Aussie guys because we raced a couple of races, but yeah, I'm looking at this race and obviously, you know, Commonwealth Games is the next big goal in a couple of weeks' time. And you know, just doing this race basically for that, just a bit of a hit out and go back and hopefully race well there. I'm not sure what's going to happen. I don't know sort of where everyone's at basically, so just can't really pick it.
In 2004 was very special because the Olympic game, all athletes are very focused of this event, and then after this event the motivation goes down and the people are not so training well, and the level, I think the level was go down in the 2005. I think I'm a race person. I can feel my energy very well in a race day. And then sometimes in a finish it's gonna be hard and we can crash. Like in Hamburg we had a crash, and this is the sport, and sometimes it's hard. In this season it's very important, the Worlds in my hometown in Lausanne in September, and I will there in a good shape.
It has been a pretty tough couple of years. I've been on that fringe sort of area where you do all the training, you turn up to all the races, but you're just not cracking into that top level where you earn the money and get the sponsors. So I've done a lot of work in the last year or two, injury-free. So I'm looking forward to stepping up this season. Without the AIS, I couldn't do triathlon. That's it. it's an extremely expensive sport, and travelling around the world costs a fortune, and you know, to be able to do that, and if that wasn't paid for, I wouldn't be able to. I wouldn't be here, so it's crucial.
Start of a new season, and it is important to get off to a great start. The men in their final preparations, David Dello coming from Australia, so heat won't be a big problem for this man. American Mark Freda showing the use of elastics to keep your shoe in place for a fast transition. Clark Ellis, the young Kiwi, hoping to make a breakthrough, as well as Andrei Glishenko, the former world junior champion from the Ukraine. Fluid in, trying to calm the nerves as the athletes are getting ready for the season debut. No detail too important in the transition zone before the race. It's the two Australian teammates, Simon Thompson, the Olympian on the left, Brad Caulfield wearing number 1. They've had 2 races in Hobart and Perth coming in, and Caulfield was on top in both of those events. Vladimir Porlokripinko, the 2-time Olympian from the Ukraine, very experienced as he's heading out to start the day. Sven Rieder, the bronze medalist from the Olympic Games. Fontana, 8th at last year's World Championships. As the men get to line up based on their number 1 ranking spots. We're just minutes away now from the start. Water temperature 22 degrees Celsius as the men get ready for their 2-lap 1,500-meter swim. 60-plus men on the pontoon. It is a large group of men to start the season, and nerves just a little high. Fair start, and we are off. The men will go 250 meters straight down before they make their first left-hand turn around a yellow pontoon. And you have to believe the likes of Richard Stannard, Javier Gomez, 2 of the men who classically push the pace very quickly. We haven't seen Gomez for a while because of some illness, but Richard Stannard is a staple at the front of swims. Well spread out already, so it's definitely some athletes getting some experience here in their 2006 season. And number 37, Javier Gomez, keeping a very quick pace. The Spanish athlete had to miss some time because of illness, and you can see the large group sitting on his feet. Vladimir Porlokripinko sitting back into that group. David Dello as well, but a great shot of our Spanish athlete. Gomez pushing very quickly, but you can see how tightly bunched they are from 4th through 15th. The quality of the men swimming now getting very, very close, and Javier Gomez really opening up here. Again, there are preems for the first athlete at the end of 750 meters, and after a year away from swimming, Javier Gomez looks like he wants to go after that first swim preem of 2006. It is our Spanish athlete, Gomez, first up, and he's just over 8.5 minutes, so he has had a very fast opening 750 meters. He's got about a 15-meter gap back into the water already, and then coming through will be Richard Stannard, Vladimir Porlokripinko, Vidal from France sitting into that group, Dello, Green from New Zealand coming through as well. Michael Arce and Mark Freda just coming back into the water, so the American athletes well established. Doug Freeman from US, we haven't seen him for almost 2 years, so he's having a solid swim. Gomez right now continuing to lead. He was a 23 and under world champion back in 2003, 4th at the Korea World Cup race, but maybe his best performance ever, 8th at the 2004 Senior Championships in Madeira. This man is a talent, and after a year away from swimming and triathlon, he is motivated, healthy, and really pushing the pace here in Doha. Late into our 1,500-meter swim, and Richard Stannard now starting to pick up the pace. Stannard, who we would have anticipated leading out, has now caught up to Gomez and a number of other athletes, including David Dello, Vladimir Porlokripinko, and Vidal from France into that lead group of 5 as they are starting to establish a small gap back to our chase athletes. Just a little chop on the water. Very, very ideal conditions for fast swimming here. As they come back towards the pontoon, it's Richard Stannard who has now taken over a slight lead on Javier Gomez. And as they come onto the pontoon, it is Great Britain's Richard Stannard first in, just over 18 minutes and 40 seconds. and a 150-meter run along the pontoon and then back up onto shore to the bikes. Standard first through. Gomez just behind him. Vladimir Polokapinko from the Ukraine. Vidal from France. Green from New Zealand. Dello just coming around the corner. And he's in a very solid position. That group of 6 athletes are going to try to get out very quickly and away from the chase athletes. Mark Freda about another 15 seconds back, and he's going to have a great transition if he wants to catch on. Andrei Glashenko into that group as well. Sizably back, however, Simon Thompson, Brad Caulfield just at the back of that pack, and we can see the chaos in the transition zone as the men are trying to get out very quickly onto this 5-lap, 40-kilometer bike ride.
Verification of the men's 1,500-meter swim. Britain's Richard Stannard out first in 18 minutes 42 seconds, with Javier Gomez and the Ukraine's Vladimir Polikarpinko close on his heels. With 2 Americans, 2 Frenchmen and 2 Ukrainians in the lead group, the bike leg will be intense.
The torrid opening swim is being equaled by the early stages of this bike ride. Small group of men trying to get together here very quickly. Green from New Zealand just coming into the screen, going by David Dello. The young Kiwi trying to make his name amongst a large number of very established Kiwi athletes over the last few years. Simon Thompson had a very weak swim and is going to have to make up sizable time. He's back by about 35 seconds out of the water. So the 10th place Olympian's going to have a little bit of work to do here early in this 40-kilometer bike ride. Men trying to get themselves in a little bit of cohesion. We saw some great riding by the women earlier on. And right now the men still a little bit disorganized here as they go through the old part of Doha. Vidal just coming into the scene right there. And our chase group of athletes starting to make their way through. Sven Rieder from Switzerland, the bronze medalist from the 2004 Olympic Games, trying to make some time here early in this 40-kilometer ride. Small breakaway right now. Green from New Zealand, Freda. And athlete number 9 going very well, Sylvain Daudet, as that trio is trying to make a break, and these are men. Certainly Daudet and Freda have done this in the past. If that chase group lets them get away, and it doesn't look like they have. So Vladimir Polokapinko putting his head down, he along with Richard Stannard bringing back the small group of 3 who tried to make their breakaway. Our chase group, Sven Rieder, 2 of our Chinese athletes into here as well. And as they're coming at the end of lap 1, you can see the leaders coming through the transition zone, and just in the background, chase group number 1 is only about 20 seconds back, so they are riding very well. And this lead group of athletes are going to have to work very quickly if they want to keep ahead of the chase group, including Sven Rieder. You can see them just coming into the transition zone right there, so that chase group of athletes are starting to make up a sizable amount of time, and they're back into the palm trees is Simon Thompson and our chase group number 2. So 3 distinct groups right now out on this second lap of the 5-lap 40-kilometer bike ride. Polokapinko head down, working very well right now as our athletes are pushing just over 45 kilometers an hour and trying to keep ahead of the chase pack. Lack of motivation through the second lap, and our leaders have been caught by chase group number 1 and 2. We are now looking at over 25 athletes in that large main pack. David Dello in the screen. Tony Moulay from France, number 12 right there, just coming into your screen as well. Had a very good breakthrough race at Cornerbrook, Newfoundland last year. Sylvain Daudet just coming into the scene, and it looks like 2 French and 1 Australian athlete who have decided to put their head down and try to pick up the pace here. And they are getting just a small gap. But Dello, a very powerful fellow on the bike. Sylvain Daudet has done this so many times in the past as well. I'm surprised that Mark Freda has not come along, as Freda is usually very, very excited when a breakaway occurs. Heading towards bike preem number 1 right now, Sylvain Daudet, who has won so many of these over the years, and he claims it again. Daudet, well known for his biking abilities. It's been the run that has been his weakness. If anything holds him back from a podium position, but right now Daudet, Moulay from France, and David Dello from Australia are starting to increase their lead. There comes Sven Rieder, Polikarpinko, Freda as well, as they realize they are starting to lose some time to that lead group, and that was a strategic mistake to let such powerful cyclists away. Freda just at the back of this group right now as they come back through the transition zone. And they'll be getting some information from their coaches and the race announcers, realizing that they have let a significant gap open up to the 2 Frenchmen and the Australian athlete.
I didn't really have any expectations. I must admit, never been in the Middle East before, and yeah, it kind of blows you away a bit. It's a real bit of a culture shock for us, and you're in a desert, you know, to start with. That's the main thing, and then yeah, then after that, it's just, yeah, they've obviously put in such an amazing effort to really make sure that they do a great job. They're not just going to have a flash in the pan race. They really want to make a good job of it.
Tony Moulay right there pushing the pace, trying to have a first ever podium performance for himself. Daudet has been a World Cup winner in the past, and David Dello has never been able to get on the podium, and this could be his breakthrough day. Large chase group coming back through the old part of Doha right now, and they will start to worry as they realize that they are losing time to that lead group of 3. Sylvain Daudet, 4th at the 2000 and 2005 European Championships. He was 4th at the Hungarian World Cup race in 2002, but his first and only victory was in Tampa Bay, St. Anthony's in 2002. Another great shot through spring here in Doha as the flowers are out, and there have been many gardens all along this bike course. Absolutely beautiful to look at, but Marc Freda doesn't have time to do that. Freda is in 4th place right now with a small breakaway going on with Fontana from Italy. And you look back to the chase group of athletes, they're letting them get away. Final lap here for our leaders. Boulot and Daudet from France, Dello from Australia. And they're trying to make as much time as they can as our lead chase group athletes come in. Fontana making a breakaway, Freda from United States, and Sven Rieder from Switzerland trying to just catch on to that duo. Last bike preem was won by David Dello, as he will take bike preem number 2. Daudet, who's in that pack, won bike preem number 1. And a clear now chase group has made their breakaway. Freda, Fontana, and Sven Rieder will now start to gap the chase pack and see if they're able to use that to their benefit. Off the bike, the 2 French athletes and the Australian, they will see how much time they are able to use in this early kilometer. None of this group of 3 are known as the best runners, so they're going to have to use this time to the fullest if they want to get on the podium. Dello first out of the transition zone. He has never been on the podium before. This might just be his breakthrough day. And the 2 French athletes following up on the top screen. Down to the bottom, it's Fontana from Italy, Sven Rieder from Switzerland, and Marc Freda from the United States, as we are in for a fantastic run, and our chase group of athletes with some of the best runners in the world will be coming in shortly. Tony Moulay and David Dello at the top of the screen right now leading the 2006 Doha World Cup race. And as we look to the bottom of our screen, we can see our main chase group coming in, and that includes Simon Thompson, Vladimir Polikarpinko, Brad Caulfield. And as our best runners are bringing in the bikes, heading out onto the run right now will be Brad Caulfield, and he is moving very quickly. A slow transition for Vladimir Polikarpinko, and he's going to have to latch on very, very fast.
The French tandem of Moulay and Daudet lead the bike leg, along with Australia's David Dello. The trio of Riedere, Fontana and Fretter were 43 seconds behind, with the main pack a further 50 seconds behind them.
Two men who have never been on the podium before. Moulay from France trying to relax his arms. Look back to Daudet right now, who's in third place and starting to show some fatigue from his very fast bike. It's Fontana, Sven Rieder, and Mark Freda in 4th through 6th.
Always exciting to race in new locations. I'm excited now. I knew I was ready to race well, and it took great performances by Vladimir and Brad to push me to my best, and I gave it everything I had, and I got a good result today.
This race, it's a little bit early for us. I mean, for European athletes, we are training in the winter time a lot, and especially for me, I'm just stopped training and make break 2 weeks, and Qatar and Jordan for me, it's like test what kind of training section I did. So I'm satisfied also. So my winter preparation is very good, and I try to be this year near the podium, I think so.
Australia's Brad Carfelt won his first ever World Cup in 1 hour 51 minutes. Mark Fretter from the USA made his career best with a silver, and Vladimir Polikarpenko took the bronze. Australian David Dello will have to continue to wait for his first ever podium finish, and after a year of absence, Spain's Javier Gomez returned with a top 10 placing in the season's opener.
A day of many firsts as Annabelle Luxford wins her first race of 2006. Franzman, her first ever silver medal podium, and a very happy Laura Bennett celebrating on the podium as the 3 stars of the day survive the heat and humidity. And it'll be Annabelle Luxford maintaining that #1 world ranking, along with Franzman in 2nd and Bennett in 3rd. Time for the men to be recognized as Brad Carfelt finally stands tall at a World Cup triathlon. Carfelt will go into round number 2 as the #1 ranked man. Mark Freda with the breakthrough race he looked for, and the experienced Vladimir Polikarpenko will be number 3 heading to the World Cup race in Jordan. It's time to celebrate, and as our 6 athletes who have reigned supreme on the day enjoy their final celebration, I'm Barry Shuffley saying see you next week in the great city of Aqaba, Jordan.